All right, let's settle a big one for all the Azure engineers out there. When we talk about infrastructure as code, what's the best tool for the job? Is it Terraform, ARM, or the new kid on the block, Bicep? Well, today we're going to stop guessing and actually dive into the performance data to get a real answer.
You know, the incredible promise of the cloud is that you can build literally anything. With just a few lines of code, you can spin up servers, databases, entire global networks. It's this amazing, endless sandbox for creating cool stuff.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. With all that power comes a huge challenge: consistency. I mean, how do you guarantee that the dev environment you spin up today is a perfect mirror of the production environment you'll need tomorrow? Because one wrong click in some portal, one forgotten setting, and suddenly you're in a world of hurt.
And that's really where this whole thing gets interesting. The answer to all that manual, error-prone clicking is a pretty revolutionary idea. What if we started treating our infrastructure just like we treat our software? And that, my friends, is the world of infrastructure as code, or IaC.
So, what exactly is IaC? The easiest way to think about it is like having a blueprint for your entire cloud setup. Instead of clicking around in a web browser, you write a file that defines everything: every server, every network rule, every single database setting. That file becomes the single source of truth, the master plan for your infrastructure.
Let's really break this down. The old way? Oh man, it was a manual nightmare. You're clicking through portals, trying to remember every single step, hoping you do it exactly the same for dev and staging and production. It's a recipe for disaster. But the new way, the IaC way, is so much smarter. First, you write the code. Then you plan the changes, which means you get to see exactly what's going to happen before you do it. And finally, you apply it, and automation takes over, building everything perfectly, the same way every single time.
Now, in the Azure ecosystem, this whole IaC thing has basically boiled down to a three-way showdown. We've got three major players all doing the same job, but in very different ways. So, it's time to meet the contenders.
First up, you've got Terraform. It's the open-source multi-cloud giant from HashiCorp, and people love its easy-to-read language. Then you have ARM templates, which is Azure's OG native solution. It's incredibly powerful, but it's all written in JSON, which, let's be honest, can get really complicated really fast. And that complexity leads us straight to our third contender, Bicep. This is Microsoft's answer to the headaches of ARM. It's a much cleaner, simpler language that, under the hood, actually gets converted into a standard ARM template anyway.
And if you've ever wondered why Bicep even exists, this is the perfect illustration. On one side, you have an ARM template in JSON for a pretty basic storage account. Just look at that wall of text. The brackets, the quotes, the nesting. Now look at the other side. That's the exact same resource defined in Bicep. It's just cleaner. It's more intuitive. It's way, way less code. This right here is the whole reason for Bicep's existence.
Okay, so it looks nicer for sure, but is simpler also better? Is it faster, more efficient? To figure that out, we're going to look at a study that put these three tools head-to-head in a direct performance face-off. It's time to move past opinions and get into some cold, hard data.
So what did they actually measure? Well, a few key things. First, deployment time. How fast can each tool build everything up? And just as important, how fast can it tear it all down? Second, how much of a beating does your own computer take? CPU, memory, network, and disk usage. And finally, a really important one, consistency. Does it take the same amount of time every run, or is it all over the place?
And they didn't just test some simple Hello World app. No. They really put these tools through the ringer. They scaled up the complexity in 5 distinct stages, starting with basic networking and storage, and then just kept layering on more and more services. Logging, virtual machines, databases, security tools, the whole shebang. The idea was to really stress test each one. So, how'd they do? All right, this is the moment of truth. All three tools ran through the same 5 modules multiple times. The data was collected, so who came out on top?
Let's start with the big one, the one everybody cares about, speed. When you're trying to get infrastructure deployed, every minute, every second counts. So which tool gets the job done the fastest?
And the data is crystal clear on this. For actually provisioning new infrastructure, Bicep is the undisputed speed champion. Across all the test modules, it consistently finished deployments faster than both ARM and Terraform. So if your number one priority is getting an environment up and running as fast as humanly possible, Bicep is your winner.
But what about tearing it all down?
I mean, this is super crucial for temporary environments like in your test pipelines. And here, we have a surprise winner. It's actually ARM templates. The old native tool is the fastest when it comes to destroying resources. I guess being that close to the core Azure APIs has its perks when it's time for cleanup.
Okay, so let's look at how much of a toll these tools take on your local machine. Bicep was the leanest tool overall. It barely sipped on memory, network, and disk I/O. But ARM managed to pull off another specific win. It used the least amount of CPU power. Terraform, probably because it's built to handle any cloud, consistently used the most local resources of the three. So let's throw it all together on a final scorecard. For pure provisioning speed and just being lightweight, Bicep takes the gold. For the fastest teardowns, ARM gets the prize. But wait, there's one more metric we talked about, consistency. And here, Terraform shines. It had the least amount of variation in its deployment times, making it the most predictable of the bunch. It might not always be the fastest, but you pretty much know exactly what you're going to get from it every time.
Okay, that's a whole lot of data. But what does it actually mean for you and your next project? How do you take these results and actually pick the right tool? You know, the author of the studies summed it up perfectly. They said Bicep is the best choice for building Azure infrastructure because of its speed and efficiency. But ARM is better for quick deprovisioning. That's really the core takeaway from all the performance data.
So let's apply this to a situation we've all faced. Imagine you need to update a live application, but you can't have any downtime. A common way to do this is called a blue-green deployment. You build a brand new, identical green environment right next to your live blue one. Once you know it's perfect, you just flip a switch and send all the traffic over. For that to work, the speed and reliability of your IaC tool is absolutely critical. So here's your decision-making cheat sheet. If your main goal is a rapid provisioning, like for that blue-green deployment or standing up a new customer environment, Bicep is your champion. If you're constantly creating and destroying temporary environments for testing, the teardown speed of ARM could be the thing that saves your day. And if you're in a massive, complex enterprise where predictability and consistency are everything, Terraform's stable performance makes it a super strong contender.
At the end of the day, there is no single best tool. There's only the best tool for your specific job. The choice between Bicep's raw speed, ARM's cleanup efficiency, and Terraform's rock-solid consistency is a trade-off you have to make. Your infrastructure is a living story, and it's being written in code. So the only question left is, which of these authors are you going to trust to write its next chapter?